Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be breaking down ZRL Round 2 Race 4. It's the second team time trial, this time in New York on What's the Limit. So this one is 31 kilometers, around 200 meters of elevation, and trust me, this route is way trickier than it looks on paper. This isn't about just raw power, it's about rhythm, pacing, staying together as a unit. So let's go through the course, some danger points, and see how you can absolutely destroy this as a team on a team time trial. So it starts from the pen then. You've got a 1.5 kilometre lead in before the start. And as you go through the start then, you're in the kind of park here. There's a few little rollers and then you turn right. So not to get worried when the climbing hood comes up. And you are just weaving your way through the park. It's a good opportunity now in this first couple of minutes to get the team together and get in a good rotation before we start hitting the more trickier parts as we leave the park then. So you've got to ensure still on these downhills, you've got to keep maintaining your pace and not use them as rest, because it is a team time trial and individuals will push on. But as we push into the city then, and we're going to head towards what will be going down our first lot of escalators and then into the subway system where it is relatively flat. Once we get down there, you can see the escalator on your left. So it is flat through here, so there's a good opportunity to still maintain your pace line and push on as a team. Remember, at the end of this, you have the escalators, and how you tackle them might determine whether you lose time or gain time. So as you approach the escalators then, you can either attack them as a team and then regroup at the top, but my suggestion would be to maintain the pace line so that you can continue going over the top and you haven't got to worry about regrouping. So onto the glass bridges then, and they're not a favourite of mine, these glass bridges, but nice and straight, nice and flat, and again just keeping the rotations going as we start heading back down towards another escalator. So in a second we'll be heading kind of down again, and this slight descent into this, and we're back into the tunnels before we pop out at the other end towards the Manhattan Bridge. So whatever you tried in the first one, if the first escalator kind of rotation worked, whether you attacked it or whether you just maintained the pace, you get another opportunity pretty quickly, and you will get a chance now. So it'll be an opportunity now to get the team together and decide whether you're going to punch up this as a oneer or you're just going to maintain the pace line. So once you get to the top of this then, at 9.1k, we are going to start looking at the start of the Manhattan Bridge. So not long until that now, so just over 9.1k, and then it starts, but it's an average of 3%, right? It's not much over a k. I think it's at 1.4k or something like that. Now you could be tempted as a team to hit this as hard as you can because you've got a downhill on the other side and you can get a bit of recovery, but like I previously stated, once you go over this on the downhill, it's not very steep, so you just kind of want to maintain your pace. You want to power down the hill because there should be no recovery time really in this. Your recovery time's when you're not on the front, so you just keep pushing on through on the downhill to the bottom of Manhattan Bridge, the other side. We will kind of get to a turnaround point and you will head back up that way, exactly the same. It's quite technical down here, but remember in ZRL we don't have any steering, so you haven't got to worry about trying to stay around the corners or anything like that and steer into them to get a bit of extra pace. We are going to drop down again into the tunnel system again for what would be, on this way, our third trip through the tunnels. And again, the tunnels are really flat, so it is a good opportunity to kind of really lay some power down because you haven't got to worry about any kind of rises until at least the end of it. And when you get over the end of it, you will have your third attempt at the escalators, and I'd like to hope by this point you've kind of cracked it and you understand what you're doing as a team. And I think a lot of teams will be experimenting, but as you can see, as you hit this escalator now, it does continue to go uphill ever so slightly after the escalator, at about 2%, so it's not over straight away as soon as it gets to the top, and that's quite important to know. And then it does kind of flatten out, and you go around this loop, and with that it'll take you back round, and we'll be heading back the way we came. Slight different inclines, but we've already rode it once, so we kind of know what's coming. So it's slight downhill now then, so you can kind of build up a bit of speed now, but make sure, like I've previously said, you don't let off the gas on the downhills, especially if you're the rider on the front at that time. You need to maintain what watts has been designated to you for that. Your rest will be when you're probably rider 4, 5 or 6, so take it where you can. Don't worry too much about the power zones that are on here. Not sure if they're going to be on the day on ZRL, but if they are, then it's not something you need to go for whilst on a team time trial. Pushing through the tunnels then, we know straight away on the other side, this is going to be what would be our 4th ascent of a tunnel, but unlike the last one we just did, it is pretty flat at the top, so you can get back into your pace line pretty quickly and then get back on the pedals. Weaving back through the city then, we are now heading towards the reverse side of the Manhattan Bridge, and that starts at just over 19k. And again, it averages in and around 3%, and it's not steep enough that you need to kind of surge up it, and it is very draftable, so just stay in your pace line. You can maintain rotations while still on an incline like this. You don't have to just all surge up as a oneer and then regroup at the top and kind of get yourselves back together. It's completely fine just to stay in your pace line and just put the hammer down. And again, I feel like I'm repeating myself, don't take it easy on the downhill, because you will lose time overall on other teams. And like before, we're just weaving through the city now. It's relatively flat with a couple of declines before we head back into our 5th time through tunnels. But as I've previously stated, the tunnels inside are flat. So the only inclines we've got really are the 6 ramps, the Manhattan Bridge over and back, and then there's a slight ramp at the end, kind of into the LaGuardia part of the course. So again, this is the 5th time up there. I'd like to hope that you have kind of cracked how you're going to tackle them, and then we're back onto the sky bridges. In my opinion, one of the worst parts of New York is these sky bridges. Looking below, it looks like such a fantastic city below to race through, very similar to kind of Glasgow and London. I don't understand why we need to use futuristic glass bridges when there's such a fantastic terrain below. But as you can see, just long straights, kind of weaving around, and then we go down our 6th and final trip into the tunnels then. This is the last kind of bit of flat that you'll have, because the next last part of the section is relatively rolling. It's still flat-ish, so this is probably a good opportunity the last time for you to lay some power down on the flat as a team, and the last one of the escalators. And if you haven't got it by the 6th time, then you're never going to get it. So we're going to leave the city in a second, once we've done the kind of winding bits here, and we're going to move back into the park then. And in the park, it's quite rolling, and a little bit of a descent coming up, and then we're going to go kind of slightly uphill, right, 5-6%, and then downhill. Again, just another kind of like rolling terrain. It's used quite a bit on the LaGuardia loop and stuff like that. And then we come into the kind of last kilometre, and it descends down, and then we do have a slight bump to go up before we descend, and this is the bump here. So as a team, I would push hard up here and attack, because the run to the downhill, the run to the finish is all downhill. So let's talk bikes then. So as normal TTs then, KX Tri is the kind of the king on this. Closely followed though by Canyon Speedmax, and both rocking the DT Swiss Arc 1100 disc wheel. But I will say this, go with what the fastest thing you've got, right? I don't have KX, I have a Canyon Speedmax, but it's only a level 2 and about to be level 3. Okay, so well, this is what would be the gold standard. Just go with what bike you've got with the fastest thing. Hopefully it's not the Zwift TT bike, but I'm sure there's plenty of time for you to get something between now and then. But KX Tri is the king of TTs. And that's a recon complete. Hopefully it helps you out a little bit and you've got a bit of understanding of the route. I think the tricky parts are going to be the escalators every time and how you pace the Manhattan Bridge either way. Team selection then, make sure you try and select your team nice and early so that you can do things like the calculator. This is the calculator from my last race where we kind of worked out what our individual pulls were on the front and for the duration, and it did kind of help. But also I'd have somebody captain the team, be on Discord and call out the rotations. Don't be afraid if you're struggling to let your team know that you're struggling. It is better to have 6 riders in the team, even with you skipping a turn every now and again, because it's just that extra 6th person in the draft, right? If you just skip a turn, so every time it comes to you, you just rotate back to the back, it does just give that little bit extra person in the draft. And sometimes you just have to drop off, right? And the team has to go and leave you because it is the first 4 across the line. So if you're not having a good day, or if the rest of the team is particularly strong, sometimes you just got to let them go. And it's what's the benefit of the team. I hope this has helped. And I will maybe do a few more ZRL recons in the future coming up. But if you're interested, just drop a like, a comment, and more importantly, please subscribe, right, for more content on ZRL and other races. Bye bye.